You've touched on perhaps probably the most pervasive issue that I come across when I'm speaking to various different service leaders, and that's the tribal knowledge walking out the door.
Yep.
Across all regions, across all industries, it seems that there's a challenge with retaining staff as they reach towards the age of retirement, and recruiting new staff, a new generation of engineers. I must confess, I'd be keen to see, because I think 3D printing is a cool industry. I think you've got some cool technology. So I imagine you may have a slight advantage over some of the other organisations I speak to. But I mean, it seems like what you've achieved here with utilising the Aquant solutions is to stop that tribal knowledge walking out the door. Would you say that's correct?
Yes, and you're right. We do have really cool technology, so it does help attract and retain people. But just like other companies, we do have turnover, and certain product lines, we don't have a lot of printers installed, so we don't have a lot of people trained. So on one multi-jet printer, for example, our subject matter expert decided to go into retirement a couple of years earlier than we thought, right? And so everybody starts to get a little nervous. We only have one other person that's a little junior on that product. But that person told me, you'll be fine. It's all captured in the Aquant tool. I've validated it works, right? And then shortly after that, our second person that knew that technology also left. He just had needed to change location and decided to leave. So there I am without our two tech support people for this product line, but we were able to continue to run and support customers. And it was actually, I did actually look recently, we haven't had any escalations on that product in the last 9 months since those guys left, because we were able to use all that information we had to continue to support the product. So that was a nice positive coming out using the tool.
Just how big a headache would that have been without the tool? I mean,
without the tool, then I'm gonna, call on engineering. Hey, do you have somebody that knows this? And you start just trying to find any resource. Engineering has, other priorities. They're bringing out the next generation products for us. We want them to focus on that. But you've got to start scratching, okay, what guy in the field knows this, that we can pull them in and do something. And you just, most service organizations have experienced this at some point, and it just creates a large hiccup in, the management of the process.
Describing it in this context with that exact example, because essentially what you've had is a trainer almost, or somebody there to kind of make sure that transition from those two, techs with that knowledge leaving, that wasn't a painful transition. One of the things that I really wanted to kind of dig into and kind of looking at the wider, service organizations that will be listening into this, and from various different industries. We've got an audience that sits across manufacturing, telcos, utilities, and everything else in between. One thing that struck me is the information, the knowledge, that tribal knowledge was already buried within your systems.
Yeah.
It was, would you say that's probably true for almost any service organization?
Yeah, I would say it's true, because typically we require our field service or tech support to document in the case what happened, right? The field service people document it so we can do a debrief with the customer, and that's written down. When you go back and look at it, you'll go back and look at it very rarely, because there was a case at some point that had that, and then you start searching for the cases to find the information. Or, the customer says, hey, you have a disagreement. They didn't think you serviced them. You did, or what you do. So then you got to go back and find it. So those are the times you go digging for it. But now you're not digging for it. You've accessed like everything you've captured, right? So it's really neat in that sense.
It's almost like something that the generation or two that'll come after us will be like, you did what? You use drop downs. How does that work? It seems like it's such a groundbreaking technology that it's, I really, really empathise with the pain when you were describing, you know, how you build the drop down because you want to avoid the challenge of natural language, and that data getting lost, and then the drop down just grows and grows and grows. Before you know it, it's the tail is wagging the dog, and I'm sure everyone listening will recognise that as well.